Hi there, it's Memory from Friends Abroad Relationship School. As promised, I am going to share with you the importance of developing awareness of your emotional status, as well as the importance of improving your emotional baseline. So, how we react and how we respond to life and situations is based on our emotional states. And these emotional states would then influence or are co-influenced by thoughts, and they will influence behavior. So if you want to improve your relationships, if you want to improve the quality of your life, one of the key areas to examine is your emotional states and how you can improve them to improve your responses. So when I talk about your emotional states, it's how you are feeling in the moment. And usually, because we have not been taught how to live intentionally, we tend to go through life without assessing how we are feeling. And sometimes we are aware in some moments, but we don't then link that awareness to how we are behaving or how we are showing up in life. So what I'm going to help you with today is to learn to assess how you are feeling. And the problem with healing work, as I said the other day, is many people don't have any idea about where to start. So the important place to start is when you wake up in the morning, to notice how you are feeling. But also, what I would like to say is that when you wake up in the morning, that's the time to make sure that you don't focus on anything that happened yesterday or your ruffled emotional states from yesterday. Rather, what I encourage you to do is to improve your emotional baseline in the morning when you wake up, because that is a good start, even when you start healing work, to start a self-care habit, which starts in the morning, the moment you open your eyes, so that you are not focusing on your anxiety, on your breakup, on your relationship issues, or any other areas of your life. Hi, Imogen, would you please share to the group? Thank you. So it's important that you improve your emotional baseline in the morning, because when you start a self-care habit, which includes gratitude, meditation, affirmations, self-hugs, setting an intention, deep breathing, sometimes tapping, and a cathartic shake or exercise. Some people do their exercise in the morning. What that does is, if you make it a habit, it improves your emotional baseline. It coats your emotional system, because you have learned to be still and you have learned to reframe your thinking, and you are feeling a little bit at the start, a little bit worthy, and also more committed to yourself and more compassionate towards yourself. One day I'm going to break down the list in the self-care list, for you to understand why we do the things we do in the morning. So that helps you to improve your emotional baseline. And then you set an intention for your day. I'm going to have a good day. And it doesn't stop there. As I say, you are a parent to your inner child. So it is essential that you parent yourself throughout the day, just as you parent a child you love, a baby in your life. And when you start healing work, when you start this self-care habit, initially you are actually like a baby in self-parenting. You have to treat yourself like a baby, because you are going to be constantly triggered. And this is where you are recognizing your emotional states. Why? What has affected your emotional states? It's because you've got unhealed trauma. You've got anxieties. You've got unaddressed issues from your past. You've got essentially a wounded inner child. So that affects your emotional states. And when you practice a consistent self-care habit, you also are intentional in the way that you assess yourself throughout the day, and you are able to step into situations being aware of your emotional states, and you are able to parent yourself, to self-soothe when you are going into triggering situation. You are going to use affirmations, you are going to use self-hugs, you are going to take some deep breaths, and you are going to be intentional about how you communicate in any given situation because of your self-care habit, because you are the parent you need for your inner child. So you don't want to hurt that child. You want to be compassionate towards them. You maintain boundaries, you forgive more, you complain less, and you monitor your self-talk, and you also practice an objective evaluation of triggers, which I am going to constantly repeat in my videos and in any situation that I talk to you about, because it is the tool that helps you to decide why you are triggered as you are. Because when you use the objective evaluation tool of triggers, it helps you to recognize your unmet needs. And the unmet needs are the ones which make you react to life and to other people, which then damage your relationships. And part of self-care, at the end of the day, you reflect on your day. How have I done today? Have I honored myself? Have I done well with my inner child? Have I been a good parent to my inner child? And you praise yourself, because nobody else is going to praise you for doing your best that you are doing for your inner child. And you also appraise and assess where you need to improve. And you breathe again, deep breathing exercises and meditation before bed. It's a good idea. And counting backwards, count sheep, as we say to children. You can also do that for yourself, for your inner child. So this is the self-care habit. And when you do this consistently, repeat this self-care habit consistently, daily, what happens is you are committing to yourself, and you are also improving the coating of your emotional baseline. So where probably you would get into situations at a 2, 3, 4, 5 already triggered or pre-triggered, the baseline being 0. 0 is you on the ground, you calm, you content. And when you don't have a self-care habit, when you've got anxieties, when you've got a challenging relationship, you wake up in the morning, the moment you open your eyes, your emotional baseline is off. When you start to remember your issues, your problems, and your concerns, your relationship challenges, you look at your phone, and your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner hasn't texted you, and your baseline is off. From 2 that you woke up, now it's at 6 and 7. And what happens then is, when your emotional baseline is off, that means your emotional states are disturbed. And when you go into situations, you might find that you are more triggered by situations because you are already coming into those situations with a story. It's not just you. That's why you find that there are issues that people are saying, why did you react like that? Or you notice some people and they are thinking, why did they do that in that situation? That reaction was disproportionate. That is because they came into a situation without being intentional. They were already pre-triggered. They already had a story going on in their emotional life, in their emotional states. And that story is what then made them pick up something that was being said or done and then catastrophized it into something massive when it probably wasn't as big as it was. So that is important to know, that you need to be aware of the story that you carry. And this is also the reason why it is essential that we do inner work, so that we are aware of the stories from long time ago that we carry with us, that we need to process, because anything we have not dealt with, anything we have not addressed, intentionally or unintentionally, is going to affect our emotional states. That is why we have a lot of problems with other people, because we tend to interpret what others say or do from our own story that we are carrying in our body or that we are carrying in our mind, because the body keeps score. So that is an important part. So self-care is the first thing you start doing. If you come to me and you say, I would like to do inner work, can you guide me? The first thing that I'm going to ask you to do is to advise you to do self-care, to develop a self-care habit. Because the self-care habit is not just about me trying to assist you to do the work, but it's because you are the one who is going to carry you and parent you for the rest of your life. And so you need that commitment to commit to that part of your life, that aspect of self-care, to nurture your inner child, to nurture yourself and improve your emotional baseline so that you show up better in the world, you show up contentedly and with compassion. That is key. And then when you get into the world, be intentional, set an intention. I'm going to have a good day. That is part of your self-care habit. It might sound corny, but it's important to set an intention, because what happens is when we are at work, we set targets. And setting an intention is like setting a target again. You are the parent of the child you love. What do you want your child to have? I mean, in this life today, you want your inner child to have a good day, don't you? So that's what you promise yourself. But we also know that life will happen. So what do? You practice the dichotomy of control, because you can only control whatever is within your control. That is, manage your emotions, regulate yourself, regulate your thoughts, and manage and adjust your behavior and attitude. Those things are within your control. You can't change other people. The fact that we complain so much about other people is not even helpful or healthy for us. We have to be intentional about carrying tools into the world, because we don't know who we are going to meet and where they are coming from and what they are going to do. So we need to be prepared. So what do? You get into the world and you also practice what is called by Abraham Hicks segment intending. This is where, again, you improve your emotional coating in any given situation, any segment that you enter into. I'm going to enjoy washing my dishes with warm water. My dishes are going to be clean. Sounds corny, sounds silly, but if you are intentional about it, what happens is you enjoy the process. And if anything comes along, you are going to manage it. Just the same thing as when you are triggered. You come into a triggering situation. You woke up this morning, you did your self-care, and you are aware of your emotional states. Then someone does something that triggers you. You will be able to breathe. Even if you feel triggered, you take a deep breath, you take a step back, and maybe in that moment, you might just say to yourself quietly, it's okay, inner child, who will deal with this, I got you. And then you engage with that person in whatever way they are engaging. If you have to maintain a boundary to safeguard yourself, or you have to engage in the conflict, then you have to, but from a place of compassion. And then when you are out of that situation, when you are still learning, you then process the trigger. And then you parent your inner child properly, taking the time to understand why you were triggered, how it felt, what was the score, what was the root cause, what were the unmet needs, and then self-soothe, and then create reframes, and then release the emotions with solutions, and you go about your day. That is what is important. And that too is what you need in each moment that you are triggered. And you need this tool when you are starting inner work. By the time you finish your what do you call it, acute inner work, maybe 90 days to 6 months, you will know how to apply this tool instantly. And you might do the objective evaluation in 90 seconds, in 2 minutes, and you are able to assess the situation quickly and to do a short version of the SIFTSEM or any objective evaluation tool that you use, and you do a quick evaluation, you identify your unmet needs, you parent yourself. I'm feeling angry because I feel like I'm being controlled here. Okay, inner child, I've got you. I am in control. We are in control of our lives. We don't have to engage dysfunctionally here. Let's just hear how this goes, and I will talk to you later. Talk to your inner child like you talk to a child you love. Treat them like a child you love, because that's how you begin to be compassionate towards yourself, and that's how you begin to make the changes you need to make in your life, by having that self-dialogue quietly with yourself, and then going through whatever you are going through, and then getting out of it, and then later on parenting yourself fully or comprehensively with that too. And also, what you are going to find is when you do an objective evaluation, you've got your emotional baseline, which you have quoted with your self-care. You've got your emotional states. They can also be affected if your self-care is disrupted. Lack of sleep, you are hungry, you have something that's not working out in your life. So that can also disrupt your emotional baseline. And that can also disrupt your self-care. If your self-care habit is disrupted, you will need to do something about it. You will need to look at that when you create solutions. And solutions are going to help you to improve your emotional states. Because part of why our emotional states are disrupted is because we don't know what to do. We don't know the right thing to do for ourselves in our situation. So it can feel really challenging. We are adults, many of us, but our emotional, psychological age is probably much less than our actual age because of trauma. So many people might not have an idea of how to create solutions that are in their best interest. This is why you find people who are in unhealthy relationships. But if you commit to yourself and you objectively evaluate your triggers and you start creating solutions for yourself, those solutions will give you clarity. Oh, I need to do this. And that can help you to improve your emotional states. Just like if you talk to your child, I'm going to do this for you, give me time. If the child knows that there's something that's going to happen, they might keep asking. Children do that. And that's the same thing with you also. Your inner child might still continue to be triggered for a time until they grow up a little bit, until they learn that you are consistent and you will honor your promise to do that something. When you create solutions, I'm going to have to go no contact after a breakup, and you go no contact, and your inner child is pining for your ex, and you parent yourself. But after 6 months, you are feeling better. Your emotional baseline will improve because your inner child has noted that you will honor your promises and you will keep them safe, because you are just like a parent who is trying to keep their child safe. So your solutions will be quite useful. The other part of objective evaluation that improves your baseline, emotional baseline, or your emotional states are reframes. When you look at your thoughts, assess your inner critic and what it's thinking, and detach. Acknowledge what the inner critic is saying and detach. And then challenge your inner critic with compassion. Lay out all other possibilities or other possible perspectives. And you will find that you will withdraw from the situation because you have all these perspectives, all these ideas, all these opinions, and all these solutions, not just yours. So it's important to look into the reframes. Another part of improving your emotional states is to release your emotions. And this is very important because our emotions, our stories that we bring into a situation are stored in our body. And if we process a trigger and recognize the root cause, we release the emotions with a cathartic shake, with stretching, with progressive muscle relaxation, with jogging, any exercise that's cathartic, and then we journal. We actually can improve our emotional states and also get rid of that trauma that is stored in the body. But each of these needs to work with the other tools. It's very important because you still need the solutions, and above all, you need to implement the solutions and put them to use. Otherwise, this exercise is useless. Your emotional states will stay as they are if you don't implement your solutions and if you don't intentionally change your behavior, adjust your behavior, to learn to detach, to learn to focus on what's within your control. So the cathartic shake or catharsis is very important for your trigger management, for your objective evaluation, to improve your emotional states and release those pulled emotions. You are also going to have to look at the trigger itself in order for you to improve your emotional states. What really happened? What was happening? I noted that I felt anxious or neglected when my partner didn't respond to my text. So you look at that trigger. Your partner didn't respond to your text. Okay, is this the first time? How long did it take? Well, it was after only 4 hours. Dichotomy of control. You can wait longer for a text. It was after 1 day. Okay, give them a couple of days. It was after 3 days. Okay, how long have you been together? What can you do about the situation? We just started talking. Well, maybe for anyone, give them the benefit of the doubt. Send a text message and say, after 3 days, hey, just catching up with you. I enjoyed this time we spent last 2 nights ago. If you are open to meeting again, I would love to connect. No pressure. And then you leave it to them. You have practiced dichotomy of control. At the same time, you are not coming from a place of being reactive. You are coming from a place of inspiring. And hopefully, if they are the right person for you, they will respond. And if they don't, you have done your bit. Let them go. If you are someone you are in a relationship with, again, you can do the same. You can engage to try and have conversation. And you want to be intentional about at some point to be opening up conversation to talk about this. But when they are not coming towards you or making an effort, focus on yourself. Focus on nurturing your inner child. They are not there. Leave them where they are. Focus on yourself. That is how you heal your life, by trusting and allowing other people to know and do what is best for them, even if their best is not you. To focus on what's within your control, which is you. To nurture yourself and to also be okay whether you are with someone or not. So you need to prepare yourself and to learn to live without the people that you think you can't live without. That's why you need to commit to yourself. That's why you need self-love and boundaries. That's why you need a circle. Look for other people who you can engage with, who you can talk to, people who make you realize I'm worthy, even without this person. I'm lovable, even when they are not there. I'm okay, even when I'm on my own. Those are some of the solutions that help you to strengthen your self-relationship, to improve your emotional baseline. And initially, it's not easy. You might have to do this exercise 3 times a day sometimes to revisit your solutions and soothe your inner child. Otherwise, you give up and contact them 24 times. Because you can't heal in one day. It's a muscle that you need to strengthen. So familiarize yourself. In any given situation, if something happens, take that as an opportunity for you to understand your emotional states and the root cause of how you feel about situations. Trigger evaluation is a very good way to assess how you feel about things and why you do what you do. And it can also help you to understand your emotional states as well as to learn to detach without reacting, without responding in a way that self-sabotages. So, the lesson for today, in a nutshell, was to understand your emotional states and your emotional baseline. To improve your emotional baseline with a self-care habit which starts in the morning. The moment you wake up, without doing anything or anyone, start with your self-care habit. And recognize your emotional states in any given situation. And be intentional about how you get into situations or in life by setting an intention for your day and also segment intending in any situation. And in situations that you know are triggering, again, make sure to assess your emotional state and to parent yourself before you go into those situations. And parent yourself during triggering situations and after triggering situations. And practice objective evaluation of your triggers, as well as assessing your emotional states when you practice that objective evaluation, to assess your thoughts and apply reframes, to create solutions for your triggering situations, and to also recognize the unmet needs that are associated with your emotional states or your triggers in order for you to be able to parent yourself and to release your emotions with cathartic shake or trauma releasing exercises, amongst other things. And this part of your healing, emotional states and emotional baseline, is essential to tackle before you do inner child work, before. Otherwise, if you do not address your inner child, the self-care habit and the emotional states, then you might re-traumatize yourself. And this is helpful if you want to do self-healing also, because whilst you can get a co-parent, you are going to be doing most of the work on your own, perhaps. Perhaps you don't have a co-parent, you're just going to do the work on your own, which is not advisable. It's helpful for you to seek community. But if you do, it's important that you start with assessing your emotional states and improving your emotional baseline with a self-care habit. This is also part of emotional intelligence, where you learn self-awareness, where you become self-aware or emotionally self-aware by assessing how you feel about things, how you react to situations, and how you feel when you wake up or when you get into situations. I'm hoping this was helpful for you. And I would just like to add something. When you assess your emotional states, you rate yourself on what I call a distress score, from 0 calm to 10 very triggered or very distressed. That's how you scale your emotions. And when you do the objective evaluation of triggers, you start also at the start of the trigger management, you've got the trigger score. And when you finish self-parenting or objective evaluation, and then you ground after releasing with the cathartic shake, you also assess your emotional states so that you can assess how the tool has helped you or the impact of the tool or the exercise. I hope that was helpful, and I'm hoping I'll see you again soon for another episode of self-healing or steps to heal your life. Quality life before relationships. Thank you so much, Imogen. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.